This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Shell is developing 14 with the 4 o'clock news. I'm Michaela Kamarek. The Malinowskis government says the increased number of paramedics and ambulances promised during the election campaign are on their way. The first of the new vehicles are expected to be on the road next month, ready for the commencement of the first new crews. 19 of the 36 new ambulances will be based in the metro area. 17 will be rolled out in the regions. The Ambulance Services Brian Ward says they're much needed additions.
We're excited about the new ambulances that are coming on board to create the new crewing that's been announced to occur obviously this year and into next year.
Questions are being asked about why it took so long for parents to be notified of lead dust falling from the ceiling at an Adelaide primary school. A health alert was issued at East Martin Primary School with around 90 students moved into the gym and the canteen closed. It's been revealed there was a 2-week gap between a teacher reporting it and the school community being told, but Professor Mark Taylor from Macquarie University says there's no need to panic.
You should always be concerned about a hazard, but the exposure risk will be trivial. From what I understand, the concentrations are not that high. The place is being cleaned up.
The Prime Minister has reiterated his commitment to strengthening ties with Britain during an in-person sit-down with his UK counterpart. Anthony Albanese and Boris Johnson are meeting on the sidelines of the NATO summit in Spain. The pair discussed Russia's invasion of Ukraine and Australia's defence and trade ties with Britain. Speaking at the meeting, Mr Albanese expressed his delight at the occasion.
An opportunity for me to say, personally, as we have on the phone, my government's strong support for AUKUS and also,
I'm glad you said that.
and also our hope that the free trade agreement comes into force this year as well.
The federal government will push ahead with tax breaks on electric vehicles from the 1st of July. The legislation will slash import tariffs and fringe benefit tax on mid-range EVs. The decision will cut the cost of an electric vehicle by up to $9,000. Energy Minister Chris Bowen says the move will help increase the take-up of EVs.
And of course the EV tax cut is just one part of our electric vehicle policy. We also promised driving the nation to deliver a fast charger once every 150 kilometres on our nation's highways, to convert the Commonwealth fleet to 75% no-emissions vehicles.
Australians about to lodge their tax returns are being reminded they can claim for COVID-related expenditure. ATO Assistant Commissioner Tim Lowe says those leading the fight against the virus will be reimbursed.
Things you can claim in relation to COVID, like face masks and gloves and hand sanitizer. Look, if you've been working on the front line, like our wonderful doctors and nurses, or you're working in retail, or you're working at Aldi, Woolies or Coles, you can claim a deduction for that.
Now turning to FIVEaa Sport. Port Adelaide have trained today ahead of Sunday's clash against Fremantle in the West. Defender Alia will be playing his 100th AFL game. The 27-year-old says moving to Port has brought the best out in him.
The culture here is unbelievable, and it's just allowed me to be myself. So I guess to get to 100 is a great privilege. I started with the Swans and I'm still grateful for what they've been able to do to me, and same here for Port.
Australian captain Pat Cummins and left-arm quick Mitch Starc have an early wicket each after Sri Lanka won the toss, electing to bat first in the first test. Currently, Sri Lanka is 2 for 68. And Serena Williams is out of Wimbledon, beaten in the first round of a Grand Slam for just the second time. Now checking FIVEaa traffic.
In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Decateville Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. Brooklyn Park, we've got Stobie Pole Works, Henley Beach Road near Holbrooks Road heading towards the beach. McGill intersection upgrade works continue there, McGill Road near St Bernard's Road, and we're busy right now South Road at Edwardstown. Cameras North-South Motorway Waterloo Corner and Old Port Road at Queenstown. If you test positive to COVID-19, you can seek health advice from your home by speaking to your GP or calling the National Coronavirus Helpline on 1800 020 080. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEaa.
Now the FIVEaa forecast.
Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. Visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Shell is developing this afternoon, 14, a shower or two tomorrow, 16, Friday partly cloudy, 15, and Saturday cloudy, a top of 14. Right now it's 13 degrees. Now let's hear what's happening on 9 News Tonight.
Students learning in the gym after lead was discovered in a primary school in Adelaide's northeast. Parents not told for weeks, now worried their kids were exposed. we go inside the cannabis greenhouse that could be the answer to some of our biggest health complaints. Plus petrol, heating and power bills. How to claim them on your tax. I'm Brenton Raglis. See the full story on 9 News tonight at 6.
This is the FIVEaa Sports Show. Tim Ginniver and Mark Bickley.
It's 6 minutes after 4 on your Wednesday. Great to have your company. Massive show, loaded all the way till 6 o'clock with plenty of footy and plenty of cricket and all sorts of bits and pieces happening in the sporting world. Bix and Tim stepping in for Rowie. Boys, good to see you.
Well, good afternoon to you, sir. Yeah.
Good afternoon.
And what's this show loaded with? That's what I'm a bit worried with.
Do you want to talk about AFLW draft a little bit later on in the night?
Beautiful.
We've got Lee Matthews on the show. Brodie Smith's coming in to sit right next to you.
Wow.
Tony Shaw's joining us.
This is incredible.
And loads of prizes too, so Bix.
You're right,
it is
loaded. There is plenty to get through, and probably a good place to start was the news last night, just after we came off air, that Tom Stewart was handed a 4-game suspension. So, look, I think that was pretty much where it was going to land. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So, Tom Stewart was interviewed after the tribunal. This is what he had to say.
As I said from the start, I accept the tribunal's decision. I was left to their discretion, and obviously disappointed in my actions, and I had to own that as a man. And still, my immediate response was Dion's wellness and that of his family that have had to experience this. So, as disappointed and disheartened as I am right now, it's still not about me. It's still about Dion's well-being and how he is.
I think he handled that really well. I don't think there's too much more he could have done there. He put himself at the mercy of the AFL tribunal, didn't fight it, and at the same time kept the focus on the victim in all this, which was Dan Prestia, who was just going about his business.
He got 4, but Neil Baum wasn't so sure.
I mean, the footy's gone to a crazy place. I understand why the tribunal did what they did, but it does seem extremely harsh to me. I don't think there was any real nastiness in it. The outcome was pretty bad for us. It's going to cost us one of our best players a couple of games, so maybe someone's got to pay for that.
Well, there you go. Just thought that was a bit strong.
Jeez. And he's from Richmond.
Footy's gone to a crazy place.
And it's interesting because, like, he probably, in that statement, said he probably should have got 2. But he's got 4.
Well, actually, a little bit later on, I'm not sure we can play it, but a little bit later on he said, look, to be fair, I hate seeing any player rubbed out no matter what they do. So he comes from that sort of old school era, and he was,
if you saw him play,
fairly volatile.
He was rugged, to say the least.
That's exactly right. But I think most people would suggest that sort of community standards have changed, and that there has to be an element of retribution or consequence, I guess, when those type of things happen. Because guess what? If it seemed to be sort of pandered to a little bit and not a huge penalty, that's the word I was looking for, at AFL level, the last thing you want is to start to see that filter down, into the amateur league levels, because I reckon they've done a great job in recent times of cleaning up a lot of that stuff that was going on, and because no one likes to see it, no one wants to see anyone get hurt when they're going about a game of footy trying to have a bit of fun.
Spot on, so well played there. Seems like all parties, except Neil Baum, have accepted that decision very well. And, of course, Kenny Hinkley been interviewed about the upcoming game, but more news about Scotty Lycett's return.
Well, we heard about the injury report the other night. Sounded like it was going to be 3 to 4 weeks. Ken Hinkley was interviewed this morning. Sounds like it could be sooner than later.
Our hope and need is to get Scott Lycett back into the side. Now, he's available possibly this week. Definitely the week after. He's recovered he's had 12 weeks now with a shoulder reconstruction, so we've just got to be mindful of how quickly we can rush him back into the team.
Ooh, that's earlier than we thought.
He'd definitely play Sample first.
Yes. You would think so.
Yeah. And Chris Davies interviewed Monday.
He said 2 to 3 weeks still,
that's
didn't
what
he?
I thought. Yeah,
so maybe he was just throwing a little bit of a smoky out there, but you would think that 12 weeks is a long time. Let's just say you got suspended for 12 weeks, you didn't have an injury. There is still that element of match practice,
absolutely.
And it's like that first game of the year where it's hard to sort of get yourself back in the groove. So then you put into the mix the fact that you've had a shoulder reconstructed and you've got to get all that range of movement back. He plays in a position where it gets pretty much, you lift your arm above your head trying to tap it, and you get your cross arms sometimes, so there's that sort of confidence factor you have to get back as well. So I would expect if he does play, he'd have to play in the Sandful for a week.
So 8 games to go. If you said, okay, Sample for a couple, do you reckon 5 games leading into finals
perfect.
should they make? Just about perfect.
Well, the other good thing that happens is often when, particularly Port, who have been living on the edge, they've had to play really tough, hard footy for the last 7 or 8 weeks because you just can't afford a slip-up.
They'll do it again.
You often get to the end of the year and you've got guys who are sore and have been carrying little niggles. If you have a number of players who, for whatever reason, might have missed some of the season or they come back, if Lycett's played 5 games, his body is in such a better place physically, the legs and
he's fresh.
All that sort of stuff than many of the other people. So that could be a nice little, I know it's been a bitter pill to swallow over the last 8 to 10 weeks when he hasn't been playing, but there could be a silver lining come the end of the season.
I like it. But in the meantime, chuck in ruck. Here's Kenny on it.
About it.
I think Charlie Dixon in his own right would be an elite ruckman in the competition because he's fiercely competitive and he hunts the ball at ground level.
And I love that. And that's, I know probably wasn't conditioned initially when he came back, but he had to do the job in that last quarter against Wits, and he was the man for the job. So we may even see him start this week.
And the other thing which is interesting is the excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. The fact
or a biscuit.
He actually or a couple. Kingston. When he started playing for the Gold Coast Suns, he started as a pure ruckman. He was from up north of Queensland, and he came down and he started his career as a ruckman. So, and in some respects, I've been a little bit surprised they haven't really tried him a little bit more in that role. I know you've been calling for a long time, but it demands it now. And the fact they've now got some players who are capable of providing a target when he's not there, it's just, once again, it was hard work while Marshall was finding his feet and Georgiades was sort of getting some consistency. But now those guys are going
dangerous
okay.
now.
Yeah, they look dangerous up forward, and Charlie can do what he does further up the ground.
Big task against FIVEaa this week, though.
This competition warns you all the time. When you think they're just losing their edge is when you should expect their absolute best. And, we're over at Perth. It's going to be a really tough game for us and a challenging game for us. But look, I'm really optimistic that we're in pretty good form. We're going to take some beating, and we've got some good people available to come back into the team this week, hopefully.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the cracking rounds of footy. We saw them. Port Adelaide played the final game of last round. They'll do the same thing again over at Optus Stadium this weekend, and against a top 4 contender in FIVEaa, who are coming off a really disappointing loss, I must say, against Carlton. So as Ken was suggesting, they're going to be a little bit sort of angry at the fact that they had an opportunity to consolidate their position up at the top end of the ladder. They weren't able to do it, so they're looking to rebound. So that's going to be one to really keep an eye on. The other big game, of course, is Adelaide taking on Melbourne. That's going to be at 4:05 on Saturday afternoon. Now, we know Matt Crouch went out of the side last week. Each week he speaks on Channel 10, and of course, last night there were a few questions put to him.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I think realistically I want to be playing AFL footy. I think at my age during this rebuild, I obviously understand where the footy club's at, but I'm still contracted and I want to be here. So yeah, hopefully I can get back in the AFL team and we don't worry about that.
Yeah, the question that was put to him, I should have started with, was does he think about looking around and at other clubs? Or that was paraphrased by myself. And he said, yeah, it's something that I think about, but he then went on to say, but he hopes to stay at Adelaide and be able to force his way back into the team. So it's going to be an interesting last
With that
8 or 9
do
weeks.
you reckon teammates' opinions on players like that, do they count for anything? Do clubs engaged with the playing group to say, where's this guy fit in our mix?
I think they would talk to some trusted people. So Taylor Walker, for example, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the coach sat down and said, Tex, where's Matt at? Is he engaged still? How do you see it? What's he saying to you? All those little things. And I still get the sense he's fully engaged, because you don't go back. He's been dropped twice, and both times he's gone back and just dominated. Yeah. So that says to me, I'm engaged still. I'm still invested in this club. He's just come out then and said, yes, I want to get back into the side. And even when he went out, in terms of winning the footy, he's still hunting it, but it's more about what he does with the ball once he's got it. So, there is some potential that he could make some adjustments and still be a very, very good player, but it's where the club wants to go. Do they want to say, we can still get 2 or 3 years out of Matt? Or do they say, Matt, we've got some other players who are ahead of you in that age bracket, which is Laird and Keys. We want to invest in some of our younger players. So that's really a coaching and list management decision, and I'm sure that's going to be discussed a fair bit between now and the end of the year. And whatever happens, I think it'll be done with the blessing of both parties. If they say to Matt Crouch, Matt, we're going to play the kids, I think he'll say, well, thanks for telling me. I'll I want to keep playing and I think I've got something to offer, I'll leave. Or if they say, we're going to back you in and we think you've got plenty to offer, I think you'd say, beauty, I'm going to repay you for that. So I don't think it's warring factions, so to speak.
Let's have a listen to what Tex thinks.
Certainly you take it a little bit more personal when it's your close mate, and we're a better side when Matt's playing in it, so hopefully we can fast track a couple of those areas and get him back in the side to help us get better.
Courtesy of 7 News last night.
Beautiful Tex there. Now last night...
Just on that though, he did put a caveat there and say he's my best mate. Sometimes the opinion you have on your best mate is different to the opinion the list manager might have who's looking 5 years out, and how we're going to look, how's the balance of our team.
And that's why I asked the question, because they have got a different set of lens on those situations.
But that's good that he supports his mate, though.
And has to. What I loved last night was your and Graham's debate, and I just sat in the middle, almost like watching Wimbledon,
and
just sort of went
the referee. You were.
But it was all about, because Graham said, where is the Crows rebuild at? And you gave him some really good thoughts, but Bryce Gibbs was asked about it last night.
To tell you the truth, I'm a little bit confused what the Adelaide Crows are doing at the moment. Some weeks you hear we're in a rebuild, then Adam Kelly comes out and says we're trying to win now, and then if they're in a rebuild, are they still continuing to go to the draft, but then they come out and say they're going to be active in the trade period, so it's hard to get a gauge on what they're actually trying to do.
Yeah, look, I think every person in their head has a different idea or picture when someone says rebuild, what that means.
Yeah.
Now, I think a little bit what Bryce said there. I think you can still try and win by picking, a number of experienced players, but also picking a lot of kids as well, and that puts an eye on the future. So you can still be investing in the future. I think you can still go to the draft if you're in the rebuild and use your first pick to try and get the best available talent, which Adelaide really need right now. But you can also try and trade. You can try and get something for Matt Crouch or an Elliot Himmelberg, or you can you might go to the free agency and bring another player in like Jordan Dawson. So I think you have to use all the levers that are available to you. And we mentioned Brisbane last night, and they've used the trade to get Charlie Cameron. They traded pick 12 to get Cameron. They've used free agency to get a bloke like Danaher who's come in. They've gone to the draft. They've used the number 1 pick to get Cam Rayner. They've got McCluggage at pick 6. So they're using all of the tools available to them. Generally what happens though, you use most of the talent sort of accumulation is early on. You don't go and get the free agents until you're starting to move up a little bit up the ladder, and you think that they can then sort of
accelerate you.
Yeah, accelerate you into that sort of finals scenario. So, yeah, I think it's a combination of all. It's never just one.
It's a great conversation. We'd love to hear from you. 82230000, the number throughout the show. Plenty of prizes to give away. $50 Powers voucher for the best contribution as well on the program. I think we'll get you guys some glasses of water during the break, because we are in a bit of all sorts at the moment. Tony Shaw's going to join us on the other side of the break. Collingwood royalty. There's been a lot of talk after yesterday about the prison bars. We found someone who likes it from the Collingwood Football Club, and his name is Tony Shaw. He'll join us next.
Join David and Will each Friday on the 5AA Breakfast Show as they speak to Power Excitement Machine Orazio Fantasia. Orazio! Thanks to Rainwise Pools. Family owned, building pools in SA for over 15 years. Google Rainwise Pools Adelaide.
For over 38 years, Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth a trip. And right now, Steinborners are the place to go for top dollar on your trade-in. They will do any trade, and this month they are offering a further $1,500 bonus on all trade-ins. So go out to one of Steinborner's 8 locations for Hyundai, Mitsubishi, Ford and SA's best range of used cars. View all their used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth a trip.
Kids will always be kids. So let's protect them against serious illness from COVID-19 with a vaccination. The Therapeutic Goods Administration has rigorously assessed the COVID-19 vaccines approved for children in Australia for quality, safety and effectiveness. Because kids will be kids. Book your child in today. Talk to your healthcare professional or visit australia.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
This weekend is a super weekend at your local Cheapers Chips. That means it's a super opportunity to live cheaper with their cheap prices. If you were thinking of kids and what you can do with their winter clothes, take a look at the range of Converse gear. You'll find T-shirts, jogger pants and more, all 30% off. You're probably spending more time indoors at present with all this lovely winter weather, so freshen up your family room with a Henley & Grange Tina sofa. They're smart-looking two-seater sofas come in grey or charcoal, and they're just $499 each. There's heaps more in store, including 12 rail clothes airers for only $7.99 and mini dumpster style 92-litre storage bins, just $29. For more super weekend deals, check the back page of this week's Cheapers Chips catalogue or head to your local Cheapers Chips.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide tech guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Once upon a time, laptops were assumed to have less features than their desktop counterparts. Now it's laptops like the HP Pavilion series that are stealing all the thunder. The new HP Pavilion X360 lets you create, share and connect in more ways. Streaming, chatting and getting things done is way more fun when you find your perfect position. You can flex, bend and flip from anywhere with a 360-degree hinge and long-lasting battery life. Multitasking feels easy and fast with a high-performance 11th generation Intel Core i3 processor. You also might assume that a laptop with all these features carries a big price tag. Wrong. At Harvey Norman, the HP Pavilion X360 is only $798, plus you'll score a bonus $100 Harvey Norman gift card.
Check out this great offer at 5AA.com.au. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Hi, Susanna Toop here. 30 days. That's the average time a rental property stays vacant. But at Toop & Toop, we find tenants in half the time, saving landlords an average of $860 a year. Who are you trusting to look after your biggest investment? Toop.com.au.
Scraped your caravan? Don't worry. Call Walker Crash Repairs, your RAA approved caravan crash repairer.
This is the 5AA Sports Show.
22 minutes after 4. Still got Brodie Smith to come on the program later on. Lee Matthews is going to join us as he does on a Wednesday. We're going to preview the AFLW draft, which is on this evening. Both the Crows and Power will join us, and Dizzy Gillespie's on the program also. But next, Tony Shaw in just a moment's time. First, let's check the traffic. Lunch at the Coast Glenelg. $35 weekday lunch specials includes a glass of beer or wine. You can book right now.
In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Decatable Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. Brooklyn Park, we've got Stovey Pole Works there. Henley Beach Road near Holbrooks Road. That's as you're heading towards the beach. Got lane closed currently, speeds at 40 k's. And Woodville works along Port Road heading inbound. Seeing a few delays there too. That's from Cheltenham Parade to Kilkenny Road. Busy at the moment, South Road at Karata Park. And we've got cameras Golden Grove Road, Golden Grove and Jervois Street at Torrenceville. Dry July starts in 2 days. Go dry this July and raise funds to improve the comfort and well-being of people affected by cancer. Sign up today at dryjuly.com. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Well, Port Adelaide wanting to wear their famous SNFL strip that they wore in 36 premierships, and they want to do it in the last showdown this year. They've put another submission in. We found that out. And we've got a supporter, an unbelievable supporter from the Collingwood Football Club, the great, the only Collingwood skipper of 1990 when they won the flag. Tony Shaw, welcome to the show, mate.
Cheers, how you going, mate?
And good to have your support, my friend. Firstly, it's great to find out, and you may remember this yourself. Do you remember when we played against each other in 93 in a pre-season game and we both wore black and white?
Yeah, I do remember that, but it was a long time ago, mate. I've had too many knocks to the head, so the memory's a bit of a blur. But yeah, look, I haven't got involved in this too much, but I just think for the showdown, I don't think it's a massive issue. I think there's the other thing that I found out in the last couple of days is a few legal issues through the AFL about rights and merchandising and things like that, which can impact on Collingwood, and that's probably why blokes like Eddie and other presidents might be in that vein of watching to see what goes on. But if it's not a legal issue, and they're allowed to, I've got no worries. If they only wear it in the showdown, I've got no hassles. I don't think it'd ever be worn against Collingwood, but that's because they got the licence first for that. But no issue from me. But I reckon there'd be a lot of Collingwood people who probably think I've gone soft on it, and. But I don't see the issue. I find it a bit, I do find it a bit childish, just how this whole thing's going. But I have found out in the last couple of days that legally there are some pretty big issues, especially Collingwood marketing and sponsorship and things like that about the black and white, which probably the AFL knows about, but we don't know about, you know.
That was going to be my next point around, you're as dyed-in-the-wool magpie as anyone has ever been, and so you don't have a problem with it. If you had to do a bit of a temperature check on most Collingwood fans, is it 50-50, or is it really the fact that it's happening in South Australia around 23, who cares?
Yeah, that's probably the latter, who cares, because, probably from a Victorian point of view of the Collingwood person, you don't care. But, I'd be in the minority, I would think, because Collingwood people are just so passionate, But I haven't heard it make massive news, other than Ned, which he's got his right as when he was president to stick up, and say that, it could be against, legal issues and also could be costing the club money, and will it let the floodgates open, which everybody's sort of worried about. But I'm not so much. Like I said, if it's a one-off game and it's your home game against, Adelaide in the showdown, and it's once a year, I've got no issue at all.
And Shorey, do you think the decision wholly and solely lies with the AFL, because they do keep referring back to Collingwood? Yeah, well, I think it really, like, the AFL can do what they want to do in a way. I would have thought so, really, yeah.
And like I said, I've heard from, in the last couple of days, just make sure you do a bit of research on it, but that's what I've done. And I've heard that, the AFL has made agreements with Collingwood about, the black and white stripes. This goes in the sponsorship of Collingwood. And so if say it was, the AFL jumped into it and said, okay, Port Adelaide can do this, there might be some legal issues for even the AFL, about allowing it to happen, because they've already signed contracts about that. So, look, boys, you'd have to do your own research into that. But, the AFL is also, you've got to remember, is made up of 18 clubs. And, they have got the presidents do have a fair bit of input, but normally doesn't stop the AFL doing what they want to do. So I think that's the issue. I think the AFL, the only reason it's not happening is maybe just, and I might be wrong here, but I'm thinking that maybe they're thinking if they allowed it to happen and then push further, and they've got legal already contracts signed based on, Collingwood only using it themselves, there might be some fallback on the AFL, and that's probably why it hasn't come forward.
Okay, let's have a look at Collingwood. You would have been pretty wrapped with what they've done this year. They're playing good footy under their first-year coach in Craig McRae, and an exciting brand as well, which I think people love watching.
Oh, magnificent. Look, I think the footy's been pretty good for most this year, but I always get worried at the end of the year when sides have get beaten by margins, and they're not good, and they're not going to play finals, how they go negative and the games become too defensive. So we'll be watching what happens over the next 8 or 9 weeks. But, look, I love the way that they're playing. They take it on from the back up. They've always had a good defence. Their defence has held up over the last 5 to 6 years, and you've got to remember it wasn't that long ago that they played in the grand final. So
2018.
Their defence doing it. It's amazing, but I think a bloke like Jordan Roughhead retiring has been a bit of an issue, because it means that Moore and Howe now have had to play sort of a stay at home, sort of take a good forward out, where Jordan played. He wasn't a superstar, but he did the job. And I think there's a young kid coming. I'm trying to think of his name now. He hurt himself in the first round of this year, but they really rate him as a key defender. So that'll happen, But I love it. They attack from the back half. They use the corridor a lot more now. Forward line's still a bit,
blue collar, I reckon you describe it as, Tony?
Sorry?
I reckon it's blue collar is a good way to describe it.
Yeah, it is that. And look, the issue, the unknown factor is, one, what do you do when Grundy comes back? Because, we've got Cameron and Mason Cox. Now, if Mason Cox, I love Mason, but he's still got to perform at the level more consistently than what he has. And I just want him to compete to make spillage, because I think Collingwood's pretty good on the ground. And then the other unknown is when Grundy comes back, I think he needs a few more tricks. Cameron goes forward and marks the ball pretty well. I reckon he's a good tap up, and he gets behind the play pretty well. Where Brodie sort of plays like another midfielder. And I don't know if you want the ball in the hands of a ruckman trying to hit targets in full, as a follow-up. That's what he does. He does a lot of clearance work. But that, and the other thing is De Goey. You've got to keep him on the park, and I like the kid, but he's just got to grow up now. And I still think if Collingwood, and I don't think he won't move unless the money's not good enough for him. But if Collingwood, they won't want to get rid of him. You know, and they shouldn't either, because I don't know about you, Blakes, but I reckon Port Adelaide, and if you're coming from South Australia, if you're on the board of Port Adelaide or Adelaide, and Jordan De Goey's name comes up as a chance to play for your club, I think you're jumping at it, aren't you?
You'd have a chat.
Shorey, thanks very much for your time. Before you go, I've just got a history question for you. Just between the years of 1983 and 1987, just wondering, did you lead Greg Phillips Australia or did he lead you Australia? Which way was it? I've got conflicting reports.
Are you serious? Timmy boy, I remember, this is a true story. I went to his house and we stayed there for a couple of days, and he was digging a pipe, which I would have dug in probably a run for a pipe for his spa. I reckon it was about 10 metres long, 1 foot deep. I reckon I'm a gardener by trade. I reckon I would have dug it in 2 hours. That took us 2.5 days because every foot that we dug, we had another can, mate. And it was fantastic that we hit it from the wide to working our backside off.
Fantastic. Great fella, great story. Thanks, Tony Shaw. Really appreciate your time, mate.
Yeah, good on you, Tim. Good on you, Big.
Yeah, no worries there. Tony Shaw, what a legend. 313 games, Norm Smith medalist, premiership captain. He's done it all. Great fun to play against too. Had a bit of a chat to you out on the field. What was interesting, and Tony sort of implied and I've heard Eddie Maguire mention it as well, around black and white. You know, we own the black and white and the merchandising sales. I'm just not buying that. Like, if you're a person who wants to buy an AFL jersey, you're not buying it because it's black and white. You're buying it because you follow Collingwood, or you're buying it because you follow Port Adelaide.
It's also AFL licensed. The AFL owner.
But nobody buys a Guernsey based on colour or colours. I don't think they base it on buying it for their team. And
I think that's where
there's no less Collingwood jerseys sold or Guernsey sold because Port Adelaide got a black and white one. I don't think.
No, you're spot on.
Like to hear that, and that's why Tony Shaw is one of our pals. Thanks to Pals, when you're after the special drop, trust your pals to have it. Parafield Airport Liquor, it's the home of the hardest to find wines, beers, and spirits. Life is better with your pals. We're going to go to the 4:30 headlines. On the other side, we're going to get both the Crows and the Power on the show back to back to speak about tonight's AFLW draft.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Good afternoon, I'm Michaela Kamarek. SA Premier Peter Malinauskas has marked 100 days in office by spruiking record investment in new ambulances. A man's on the run following an aggravated robbery at a pharmacy at Marlene this afternoon. The Prime Minister has reiterated his commitment to strengthening ties with Britain during an in-person sit-down with his UK counterpart, and Serena Williams is out of Wimbledon, beaten in the first round of the Grand Slam for just the second time. Now checking 5AA traffic.
In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Decatable Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. Brooklyn Park, we've got Stobie Pole Works, Henley Beach Road near Holbrooks Road heading towards the beach. One lane closed and speeds at 40. And Woodville Works along Port Road heading inbound, causing delays from Cheltenham Parade to Kilkenny Road. Busy right now, Robe Terrace at North Adelaide, with cameras Gawler Road, Virginia, and Anglevale Road at Angle Vale. At Harvey Norman, grab the Samsung Galaxy S22 256GB phone for $0 up front on an Optus $69 24-month SIM-only plan. Heading to Harvey Norman now. T's and C's apply. Ends June 30. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Showers tonight, a low of 9. Showers easing tomorrow, 15. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news at 5 o'clock and as it happens on 5AA.
5AA Breakfast.
We're joined by the Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese. Prime Minister, good morning to you. No need to thank us for getting you there. You don't need to do that. I know that's what you wanted to do.
Well, 2 tribes, I think, was the key.
Well, that's what we've been saying all morning.
One went up and one went out.
Returns July 11.
Do we have to be sensible and statesmanlike now that you've got the top job?
Well, mate, that's beyond your pay grade.
6 a.m. weekdays on 5AA.
G'day, Jared here. Let me tell you, nothing is going to stop the team at Wayville Mitsubishi from giving you incredible end of financial year deals. Yes, the new showroom on Goodwood Road is going through an amazing rebuild, but there's no way that's getting between you and a new Mitsubishi. So, enter via Goodwood Road and choose from the entire range on offer today. It's game on for end of financial year deals at Wayville Mitsubishi, opposite the showground, driven by Australian Motors, LVD 80.
Hey, it's Cam and Ali with an important message about bowel cancer. So listen up.
Bowel cancer takes more lives than breast, prostate or skin cancer. But 90% of bowel cancers can be treated successfully if caught early.
It's why everyone aged 50 to 74 has a free test kit delivered every 2 years. If you have a kit, get to it. We've done it. It only takes a few minutes.
And those few minutes could save your life. Need more info? Head to bowelcancer.org.au.
The Barossa Valley is a great place to visit. You have history, wine, great food, nature, wine. What if you had one extra draw card? Your parents. Retirement units are available in safe and connected neighbourhoods just an hour from the city. We're talking about newly renovated 1, 2 and 3 bedroom homes from around 180k to 300k. They get the vine change and you get another reason to visit the Barossa. Win-win. Talk to your parents today about Barossa Village. Find out more at barossavillage.org.
Hi, Rodney Jane here. Make this end of financial year a safe one at Bob Jane T-Marts. Buy 3 tyres, get 1 free and get up to $100 instant cash back on these top brands such as Bridgestone, Goodyear, Yokohama, Michelin, Dunlop and the Bob Jane All-Rounder. Buy any 4 Monster wheels and off-road tyres and enter to win a fantastic OzTrack camper trailer. At Bob Jane T-Marts, we'll look after you.
T's and C's apply. SA permit number T22367.
Hi, it's Jane. Now here's something you may not know. When you park at UPark, all profits support our city. It means you're helping to keep Adelaide clean and our beautiful parklands thriving. Park at UPark and help preserve Adelaide's unique heritage and celebrate the local creativity and events that bring our city to life. Choose from one of 10 UParks across Adelaide for convenient, affordable parking. Support our city by choosing to park local. Visit upark.com.au.
Scraped your caravan? Your insurance should cover that. Speak to Walker Crash Repairs and let them fix it.
This is the 5AA Sports Show.
23 minutes to 5, McGain Real Estate. If you're selling, they have buyers ready to go. Sold by McGain again. Mark Bickley in the studio with Tim Ginniver, filling in for Rowie this week on holidays. It's a very special night tonight for a lot of young girls who are looking to make their dreams come true in footy.
Yes, indeed, it's the AFLW draft, and a man who's known as the architect of the success of the Adelaide Football Club's AFLW program is their General Manager of Football, Phil Harper, and he joins us now. Good afternoon, Phil.
G'day, Bix. And Timmy Ginniver as well. We've got rolled out the big guns for him.
Indeed, we have. Now, I was just reading something that suggested that the Adelaide Crows' first ever draft pick in the AFLW back in 2016 was an 18-year-old Ebony Marinoff. Now, she's a 3-time Premiership player, 4-time All-Australian and club champion. You wouldn't mind cracking another one of them tonight, if possible, please, Phil?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we haven't got the first pick, so I'm not sure that that's likely, but you can only hope. I mean, look, Ebony's been a model of consistency. She's run top 3 in our best and fairest 6 years in a row, so you can't do much better than that. So, yeah, hopefully another one of them would be very nice. And even, Ebony was pretty good in her first year. She won the Rising Star, but there was players like Anne Hatchard and Sarah Allen who struggled. They even got dropped a couple of times in their first year, but now they're the mainstays of our team. So it takes a bit of time, and we've got a bit of time because we've got all those good players that have been playing so well for us over the last 6 years.
Yeah, before we talk about the draft specifically, I want to talk about the impact on the new teams that have come in. How have you fared as a club? Have you been able to keep the players that you wanted to keep? Have you been impacted much at all?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously we would like to have kept Erin Phillips and Justine Mills and Ange Foley. But, we understood also that, part of expansion was that we would lose some players. And, with Erin's history at Port Adelaide, we knew that was a very big possibility. And Justine and Ange decided to go as well. But, we could have lost up to 8 players to Port. We only lost 3, which was pretty good, really. And so, hopefully that stands us in good stead and we can be strong again next year. And, I'm pretty sure we can be we can be strong.
Tell us about your needs. What type of player are you looking for?
Good ones like either Ginniver or Bickley or No, in all seriousness, we try to pick the next best available player. However, given that, as I said, we lost Nikki Gore went to Fremantle and she's a running defender. Ange Foley went to Port, she's a running defender, and Dana Cox, she's used up all her credits in the SA Police Force during last season, so she's had to take a year of absence to try and get some credits back up so she can play again next year, and she's a running defender. So if we could get a running defender in our 3 selections, that would be excellent.
Hey, Phil, when it all started, it was muted to the clubs, who wants to be in. You guys went, yep, we're in straight away. What made the club do that? And do you think that this, the 7 seasons that you've had so far is a big head start on perhaps your neighbour down the road?
Oh, it's certainly a head start, and if you look at the teams that have been expansion teams of recent times, Geelong and Gold Coast, it is a struggle to get a team up and running, and at least when we came in, everyone was struggling to get up and running. So, look, it's good to have a head start, but look, I'm really proud of the fact that we've won 3 out of 5 flags, but I'm probably more proud of the fact that where women's footy was, there was only 11 teams back when we started in 2016,
right?
And now there's 338 women's teams. So all of a sudden, that's 3,000% growth. And if you looked at the under-18s championships back then, South Australia had a team, but we had to compete with Northern Territory and Tasmania in the Division 2 teams.
Wow.
And then last year, our under-18 girls were not only in Division 1, they won it. They beat everybody. So we're really proud of the fact that we've been part of that journey to take us from minnows in AFLW land to we're probably envied by some of the other states at the moment. So
fair go, Phil. You've claimed credit for the 3 premierships, and now you're claiming credit for 380 teams in South Australia as well. Come on, ease up.
Well, you want me to keep going?
Hey, Phil, just one final question. You mentioned some of those young players, Sarah Allen and Anne Hatchard, who took a little bit of time to find their feet. Tell us 1 or 2 players on your list we should look out for next year who might be able to move up into those spots that have been vacated by some of the players that have left.
Yeah, that's a great point. Look, a couple of our draftees last year, and Brooke Tonnen, she played 3 games, but she kicked 6 goals in the first game in the SANFL to start the year, so she's one to keep an eye on. Zoe Prowse, who only played 1 game with us last year, was a young 18-year-old, but won the best on the ground in the SANFL grand final, will probably get more of a start this year. And also Abby Ballard, who was from West Adelaide, who played, I think she played about 3 games as well last year. So it's a bit of a pattern that those young ones play 1 to 3 or 4 games in their first year, but then they start blossoming after that. So there's 3 names to look out for. And of course, Tia Charlton, who's played pretty well every game in her first 2 years, is not only is she going to continue to play, I think she's going to turn into a star.
Well, Phil, thanks for your time this afternoon. Good luck tonight.
Thanks, Big Guns. Thanks for having me.
And you, Phil Harper. Now, going across the road, as I mentioned, history in the making will be made tonight in the AFLW draft. The first time Port Adelaide will be a part of it. And here's their list manager, Naomi Maidman. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, it is exciting. Now, you've got picks 3, 7, 23, 31, 45, 61, 80, and the supplementaries are. But it's exciting. That's the 7 that tops your whole squad up, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Tonight's really exciting. It's just that final piece of the puzzle for our list build. So we'll add the last 7 players, and then we'll have our list of 30 ready to go.
Now, it's been a pretty good period for you. You've been able to gather as much experience, talent as what you can, and now I guess you get to the draft, you can fill those gaps. What type of player are you looking for?
Yeah, it has been really good. We're really happy with our 23 that we've signed, and tonight we're going with 7 picks, and we're looking to add a little bit more speed and probably a little bit of height coming out of our defence. And you'll see, these young South Australian talented kids that will add those things to our list. So tonight's just the fun part, really, to finish it off.
Will you stick exclusively with South Australian talent, or will you sort of cast the net a little bit wider?
Yeah, look, we are really committed to adding South Australians, and the pool is really deep this year, but we'd love the opportunity to potentially, there's been a bit written about Yasmin Dersma, and that family connection is a really big part of our football club history, and if we get that opportunity, that would also be an exciting story.
And Naomi, I was interested to read, you said this is not just about season 22-23, this is about our next premiership team. So it's what you want to build, isn't it, from here?
Yeah, it is. It's really important that everyone understands that we're looking at a really balanced list, but the build for us with the SA kids coming through is about really the next sort of 2 to 3 years. And anyone who's seen women's footy and their South Australians, the way they went about the under-18 championships this year. They'll see a lot of talented kids, and they're not just in this year's draft, but across the next two. So, yeah, part of my role as list manager is, having that strategic look into the future and seeing what we need and what's going to balance our list to give Lauren and the coaching staff the best versatility and the best list that's sustainable for years to come.
Well, give us a little snapshot of how it's been so far. Having lived through the birth of a club, it's an exciting time, and I bet there is a whole appetite for work from the girls that are out there, and I guess they're, for a lot of them, living the dream.
Yeah, it is. It's obviously exciting. I'm really privileged to be in this position, and tonight to have that very first female draftee added to the list at 152-year-old club, and to add a little piece to that story. I think just the whole process has been about that and adding value to the Port Adelaide Football Club, and I really think having the women's team really, just completes the football club, and the feeling at the club's exciting, real community, really great support. It's been a bit of a dream, really, for all of us that have been a part of it.
4 clubs coming in: Essendon, Hawthorn, Sydney and Port Adelaide. How did we get pick 3, and why was Sydney pick 1? How was that decided? Was that, like the old chook raffle? What happened there?
Yeah, look, I think it's important to note it's a state-based draft, so it's somewhat irrelevant, the number one pick. Okay. We have the number one pick in South Australia. That's how it works. So number 3 is the number 1 pick for South Australia.
Gotcha.
So we're not really competing in that space this year, which is we obviously had a nice hand in the draft for our first season.
Well, one of the things, I'm sure, Naomi, that everyone's looking forward to is that intense rivalry that already exists between the two clubs, but now it can be played out in the AFLW. So there's a few shots have already been fired with Erin sort of crossing the divide. What about, are you going to steal any talented young girls who have been under the radar of the Adelaide Footy Club?
Oh, look, Adelaide have had pick of the draft for the last 6 years, so we've got 7 picks tonight, and we've been developing players in our academy, and some of those players were drafted to Adelaide for the first 6 years. So I feel like now it's our turn to secure some of the best SA kids, and really looking forward to doing that tonight.
Well, mate, you've done a great job building the squad so far. Look forward to the final touches tonight. Good luck.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
There you go. Naomi Maidment there, who's the list manager of the Port Adelaide AFLW squad. It's going to be great. I'm really excited about this. As I said, the rivalry we know exists between the men in the AFL. Now the AFLW have a similar rivalry. And look, I don't think too many people are expecting Port Adelaide to be a power straight away, because it takes a little bit of time to build. And I sort of took that from Naomi, that maybe there's going to be some youngsters taken in there with the eye to developing them over the future. But the longer this competition goes, the more and more that rivalry is going to grow.
Naomi Maidment was our guest.
Very exciting night. So we'll keep a close eye on reporting more tomorrow. Maybe chat to a couple of the new players. Time to take a break. Go to the traffic. Lunch at the Coast Glenelg. $35 weekday lunch specials include a glass of beer or wine. I might need one of those right now.
Yummy.
Book now.
In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. Brooklyn Park, we've got Stobie Pole works there. Henley Beach Road near Holbrooks Road as you're heading towards the beach. Watt Lane closed and speeds at 40 at the moment. And McGill intersection upgrade works there. McGill Road near St Bernard's Road. Busy right now, South Road at Edwardstown. And we've got cameras Gawler Road, Virginia, and North Parade at Torranceville. The best sale now on at Best and Less. Only $2 for Oz Cotton long sleeve tees. Plus toddler jackets now $15. Over 2 million units on sale in-store and online. Only at Best and Less. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
He's the heart and soul of the Adelaide Crows.
What a goal, Rory Sloane!
And each week, Crows captain Rory Sloane sits down with Rowie. Thanks to You Installer Kitchens. Custom-sized, fully assembled cabinets at a great price. The complete DIY solution.
With fuel prices the way they are, it's now more important than ever for your car to be fuel efficient. Peak performance means peak efficiency, and that means Automasters. Book now for an Automasters Peak Performance Injector Service. Petrol or diesel, your Automasters specialist will clean and service your fuel injection system to ensure your vehicle is running at optimum efficiency. Save fuel, save money. Get the best out of your car. Call 1300 Automasters. Peak performance guaranteed.
FIVEaa's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Once upon a time, laptops were assumed to have less features than their desktop counterparts. Now it's laptops like the Acer Nitro series that are stealing all the thunder. The Acer Nitro 5 15.6-inch is a gaming laptop at heart with an 11th generation Intel Core i5 processor, 6GB NVIDIA graphics card, all-in-one sleek, minimalist design and a 4-zone RGB keyboard. If you were playing video games back in the day, it's time you revisited your favourites and experienced them on a fast, powerful PC like the Acer Nitro 5. Powerful gaming laptops can carry a powerful price tag. Not the Acer Nitro 5 at Harvey Norman. You'll pick one up for just $11.95 and score a bonus $100 Harvey Norman gift card.
Check out this great offer at fiveaa.com.au. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Attention dilly-dalliers. If you thought you'd run out of time to score a great end of financial year deal on a new Volkswagen, listen to this. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen is about to receive truckloads of new Volkswagens, and they're available at amazing end of financial year prices. And remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Don't dilly-dally, dawdle or delay. Get a great deal on Volkswagen now. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
Got $1 a week? At The Advertiser, we're for giving you great value. Get digital access to our news, including sports and entertainment, for just $1 a week for the first 12 weeks. Min costs $4. Conditions apply. Search The Advertiser offer today.
Progress has been made to connect Australia's healthcare system. Now everyone can choose to get an electronic prescription, have a consultation with a doctor from home, and use My Health Record to view your COVID-19 dashboard, including boosters and test results. And there's more to come, connecting Australia to a healthier future and you to better healthcare. Find out more at digitalhealth.gov.au.
Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra. Spoken by Dr. Andrew Rochford.
With fuel prices the way they are, fuel efficiency is more important than ever. And that means a peak performance injector service from Automasters. Ensure your vehicle is running at optimum efficiency. Save fuel, save money. Call 1300 Automasters.
Scraped your caravan? Don't worry. Call Walker Crash Repairs, your RAA approved caravan crash repairer.
This is the 5AA Sports Show.
It's 8 minutes to 5, just before we get on to Dizzy Gillespie. Beer and Barbecue Festival's coming up at the Adelaide Showground. If you'd like your chance to win some tickets for you and three mates, call now. We've got tickets to give away. 8223 0055. The Adelaide Beer and Barbecue Festival, Sunday the 17th of July. You can head to beerbarbecuefest.com.au or call now 8223 0000.
Yes, and South Australia is set for an exciting summer of cricket. The full domestic schedule has been confirmed today by Cricket Australia, so we thought we'd get the great man Jason Gillespie on from the Redbacks to have a chat. Dizzy, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Vic.
Yeah, our pleasure. Hey, first of all, you must be looking forward to the fact we might get through a season without any COVID interruptions.
Oh, most certainly. I think last couple of seasons, I think it's been tough for everyone, hasn't it? Sport, business, everything. So everyone's a bit battered and bruised, and our sport is no different. So hopefully we get a full summer ahead. The schedules come out, full quota of games, which is just fantastic.
Hey, Dizzy, how's the squad looking? And I've got particular interest in how the Kelly brothers are developing. Thomas and Corey, the twins.
Yeah, Timmy, the squad's coming along really nicely. You mentioned that the Kelly brothers. Yeah, Thomas is part of our squad. Corey's stepped away from professional cricket for the time being. He felt at this point in time, professional cricket probably wasn't his highest priority. So he's taking a little bit of a break from the professional game, and hopefully he can just go away and play some club cricket and fall in love with the game and enjoy his cricket and hopefully be back in the frame soon. But with regards to our squad, Tim, we're really delighted with it. We've recruited some players. We've also got some young guys who've come into our rookie program. And the boys have just started in earnest. They've been training for a little while now, but this week has been our full squad back together. Things are going really well.
Henry Hunt was a bolter last year, and by the end of the season, people were talking about him, national representation and all types of things. Do you have one or two more Henry Hunts on your list that maybe can jump up and really improve your team?
Look, we certainly hope so. I think, you mentioned Henry. He's been fantastic, learnt a lot, was given some leadership responsibility as well last year, Bix, and thought he learnt a lot. He'd be the first to admit that, but he did really well, and we ended up winning the final Shield game of the season, and and he was great. But yeah, look, we've got a number of young players. You saw last game of last season, Nathan McSweeney, who finished with 99 not out, helped batted beautifully with Jake Lehman in a wonderful partnership to get us over the line last game of the season. We just mentioned Thomas Kelly's a exciting young prospect. And with our bowlers, young Jordan Buckingham has been promoted from our rookie program onto the full list. An exciting young fast bowler who took 4 wickets in his first Shield game at last game of last season in a win. So we feel we've got a number of players who can contribute to the success of South Australian cricket, which is what we're all about.
That was going to be my next question. The bowling lineup has really been reshaped, hasn't it, over the last couple of years? You've lost some absolute stalwarts in Sayers and Many and those type of players.
Yep.
What's the horizon look like? You mentioned Buckingham. Who else is going to pick up the cod and run with it?
Yeah, well, Brendan Doggett's had a season with us. He came down from Queensland, has represented Australia A. Bowls north of 90 mile an hour, so he's very exciting. Look, you mentioned there's been some wonderful players who've represented South Australia and Australia with distinction in Chad Sayers, Joe Many, Kane Richardson, Dan Worrell. So we do have a big turnover of players, but we feel with Brendan Doggett coming in, Henry Thornton, who Adelaide Strikers fans would have seen a glimpse of last season, the second half of the season. He came in and performed very well for the Big Bash side. I mentioned Jordan Buckingham. We're delighted to secure the services of Harry Conway. The big he's about 6'8". He plays for the Strikers, but he's been from New South Wales and has probably been just behind a few of the seamers there, New South Wales, with the depth they've had. So we're really excited to acquire his services. And Wes Agar's over a couple of his niggles, had a bit of a glimpse of it last year playing for Australia when he went to the Caribbean, and he's fit and firing at the moment and bowling fast. He's actually up in Darwin at the moment and played a game on the weekend. So things are looking pretty good from a fast bowling stock.
We're looking forward to a great summer, mate, and big improvements with the Redbacks and the BBL as well is always entertaining, mate. So thanks very much for your time, buddy.
Pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
There you go. Jason Gillespie mentioned a whole heap of young bowlers. No better person to have sort of moulding them and getting them ready to go. And it's been such a strength of ours, our bowling lineup. Haven't really had the batting sorted out. Let's hope it clicks. Finished off strongly last year. Let's hope we get away to a bit of a start.
Absolutely agree. All right, we're time for the 5 o'clock news. Lee Matthews to join us along with Brodie Smith in the next hour.
Adelaide, you're going to love what the team at Edwardstown Mazda have in store for you during their end of financial year sale. Drive away in the versatile CX30 from $33,297 and the all-new CX5 from $36,209 drive away. Looking for something small, medium or large? Edwardstown Mazda have most models in stock, ready to drive away during their end of financial year sale on now. LMBD 207428.
I'm Peter. I used to run half marathons and then I got COVID. I spent 9 days in hospital, 7 on oxygen. And my lasting memory is laying in a hospital bed thinking I was going to die. Calling my friends with the little breath that I had, wondering if it was goodbye. Even though I was young, healthy and double vaxxed, COVID nearly killed me.
Double vaxxed isn't fully vaxxed. Book your third COVID shot now.
A message from the Government of South Australia.
When you've been around for over a century, you know a thing or two. And Business SA and Ray White have almost 300 years between them. So when an alliance is formed between Business SA and Ray White Business Sales SA, they're bringing all their experience to your business, making sure it's in top shape, whether you're buying, selling or somewhere in between. Get in touch with the experts, Business SA and Ray White Business Sales SA on 8300 0000. That's 8300 0000.
Hi, Rodney Jane here. Make this end of financial year a safe one at Bob Jane T-Marts. Buy 3 tyres, get 1 free and get up to $100 instant cash back on these top brands such as Bridgestone, Goodyear, Yokohama, Michelin, Dunlop and the Bob Jane All-Rounder. Buy any 4 Monster wheels and off-road tyres and enter to win a fantastic OzTrack camper trailer. At Bob Jane T-Marts, we'll look after you.
T's and C's apply. SA permit number T22367.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers tonight, a low of 9 with the 5 o'clock news. I'm Michaela Kamarek. The SA Premier has marked 100 days in office by spruiking record investment in health. A near $37 million will be put towards new ambulances to help address the state's ramping crisis. The spending will allow for the replacement of 184 existing ambulances and for the purchase of 36 new vehicles. Peter Malinauskas says they're sticking to their election promises.
This is what South Australians voted for. They voted for a record investment in health. They voted for more beds. We've already delivered 180, more nurses, more doctors, they're being recruited, and then critically more Rambos, and that work has already begun.
The Education Department says lead dust falling from the ceiling at East Martin Primary School poses minimal risk. Years 5 and 6 students have been moved into the gym while remediation work is carried out. The department's Ben Temperley says they're taking the matter very seriously.
We understand parents will have concerns. We've moved quickly once the issue was known, and we've worked with the experts in SA Health the whole way through our response. We'll do our very best, as will the building contractors, to have students back in those buildings at the start of Term 3.
A man's on the run following an aggravated robbery at Marlene this afternoon. Armed with a meat cleaver, the man allegedly threatened staff and stole prescription drugs from a pharmacy on South Road just after 3 p.m. He left on a push bike and was last seen on Tarragon Street. No one was injured. Police are investigating. Russia's ongoing military attack on Ukraine has dominated talks between the Prime Minister and his UK counterpart. Anthony Albanese has sat down with Boris Johnson on the sidelines of the NATO summit in Spain. The pair discussed hundreds of millions of dollars in Commonwealth aid provided to Ukraine since February. Speaking at the meeting, Mr Albanese says the conflict is of great concern.
It is very good to be here. The issues that we're talking about here at NATO, of a authoritarian state seeking to impose its will by force, is one that has implications in other parts of the world as well.
In East Asia and around the world.
Absolutely. It's almost the end of the financial year and Australians are being urged to lodge their tax returns even if they're overdue. ATO Assistant Commissioner Tim Lowe says there could be a pleasant surprise.
4 and 5 people actually get a refund, so they've actually left money with the ATO the last couple of years. So I think my advice would be to get your skates on and lodge those old returns.
Now tuning to 5AA Sport. Port Celerially will celebrate a major milestone when he takes to the field against Fremantle this Sunday. The defender will be playing his 100th AFL game. The 27-year-old says they'll be looking for a big win in the West.
Our best foot is ahead of it, and if you look across the whole team, I think a lot of players are starting to play well now and play some consistent football. And if we can all do that and jump on board, it'll make it a lot easier as a team.
Australia has made a strong start to the first cricket test against Sri Lanka. The hosts are currently 3 for 79. And another 5 Australians have joined Thanasi Kokkinakis in the second round at Wimbledon. Kokkinakis faces Novak Djokovic tonight. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Complete windscreens, same-day service and best price guaranteed. Proudly South Australian since 1976. Complete windscreens.
At Mansfield Park, smash on Hanson Road near Grand Junction Road. Speeds are down on the freeway from the tunnel tunnels to Crayfors for fog. In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Decatable Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. And we're busy right now, Robe Terrace at North Adelaide. Cameras, Hardies Road, Torrensville and North-South Motorway at Waterloo Corner. Business owners, are you paying too much on FBOS fees and terminal rental? Visit smartpay.com.au for zero-cost FBOS. Minimum turnover and T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. Visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Showers tonight, a low of 9. Showers easing tomorrow, 15. Friday partly cloudy, 15. And Saturday cloudy, a top of 13. Right now it's 10 degrees. Now let's hear what's happening on 9 News Tonight.
Students learning in the gym after lead was discovered in a primary school in Adelaide's northeast. Parents not told for weeks, now worried their kids were exposed. We go inside the cannabis greenhouse that could be the answer to some of our biggest health complaints. Plus petrol, heating and power bills. How to claim them on your tax. I'm Brenton Raglis. See the full story on 9 News tonight at 6.
If you're building a home, the Selector Homes Display Village is a great place to start. Your ideas and imagination will flow. There's nothing else quite like it in Adelaide. Different homes for different lifestyles, all in the one location. Walk through the sanctuary. It's simply stunning, with an incredible Jarrah facade, polished concrete floors and a sensational use of space. Explore the Selector Homes and Building Solutions Display Village, Port Wakefield Road, Burton. Visit selectorhomes.com.au.
The Barossa Valley is gorgeous, which is why it makes sense to make the Vine change to retirement living in Barossa Village in Anguston, Tanunda and Nooriutpa. It's the retirement lifestyle you deserve, and your pets too. Yes, your pets are your family, so you should never have to choose between your lifestyle and your beloved animals. Make the Vine change at Barossa Village, under an hour from the city. Find out more at barossavillage.org.
Question: did you receive a bowel screening test kit in the mail? See, if you thought, nah, this won't happen to me, then please think again. Do the test, then head to the Smooth Win page and tell us in 25 words or less how you maintain and enjoy a healthy lifestyle. You could go into the draw to win a prize pack valued at up to $150. Remember, bowel cancer takes more lives than breast, prostate or skin cancer, but 90% of bowel cancers can be treated successfully if found early. Get to it today.
Scraped your caravan? Don't worry. Call Walker Crash Repairs, your RAA approved caravan crash repairer.
This is the 5AA Sports Show.
It's 7 minutes after 5. Big hour to come. We've still got $450 with our mystery moment to give away for the Barra Hotel Group. Brody Smith from the Crows in studio in the next half an hour. Globetrotter tickets to give away as well, but we love this time on a Wednesday because we get to welcome in one of the legends of football, Lethal Lee Matthews.
If it bleeds, we can kill it, and we reckon Essendon can bleed.
Lethal Lee Matthews.
There you go. Good afternoon, Lee.
Geez, Ro, there's not Rory. Who's it? Fix, is it?
Yes, yeah. Rory's having a holiday, so it's Tim Ginniver and myself. Lee, good to
No
catch
one even
up.
tells me who I'm about to talk
Oh,
to.
well,
my goodness.
They've gone a long way back for that to take. Back to over 20 years ago, that was.
Wow. It was pretty amazing, though, wasn't it? Pretty amazing afternoon for yourself. But anyway, one of the big talking points across the realm was what happened with Tom Stewart, 4 games.
Yeah.
It ignited this debate around whether there should be a send-off rule, and a lot of people have weighed into it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the mechanism probably should be in place. I mean, the last time, I reckon if we've been doing the Wednesdays for a fair while now with you guys, and about 3 years ago when Jeremy Cameron bowled over Harris Andrews, and it was a forearm, which eventually got 5 weeks for, but Harris Andrews gets sent off the ground, obviously, concussed, and Jeremy Cameron plays out the rest of the game. The game doesn't desperately need it, in a sense, for what you'd call the disciplinary nature of the game. I mean, the player, as Tom Stewart, got suspended, but I do think that, particularly these days, now things have, even from 3 years ago, the concussion era is changing everything, which means that almost every game we go to, a player is probably removed from the field because he's got a knock that is classified as concussion. So if a player is actually reported for an offence that the other player is removed from the game, then I think the mechanism should be in place, Bix, for the other player to be sent off. And I kind of think about it because it only happens every year or two. You sort of then it all pops up again. I kind of think, okay, this is the system for me, the simple system. It has to be an umpire report. I reckon the umpire says, now this is a reportable offence. I'm going to give you, like it as a head high, I'm going to give you a yellow card. We're going to look into this. And I reckon the fourth umpire, the ARC review process, we could see what happens over the next 5 or 10 minutes. And if the victim has to be removed from the game because of concussion, and that there's a reportable offence that can be checked out by the fourth umpire or the ARC review system, then yes, then you make a decision and the perpetrator is removed from the game as well. I just think that's a reasonable mechanism to make sure that each individual game, to a degree, is you're not losing one player to an illegal act and the other player can stay on. I think it's doable, but the AFL have put it in the too hard basket, and many people think it's. As I say, it's not as if it's the game's biggest issue, but I think it is an issue that could be solved quite easily.
Yeah, I generally agree with you, Lee. I'm slightly to the right or left of that, and there was an example last year when Patrick Dangerfield tried to bump Jake Kelly, and it went horribly wrong. They clashed heads. Kelly got a broken nose. He got stretchered off. He was out cold on the Medi-sub, and he got a 3-game suspension. How do we judge that? You know, it was an accident. It was a footy collision. Is that something, because it was a really serious injury to Kelly, we want him sent off, or are we just saying, well, it's got to be away from the ball, or it's got to be something sort of out of the ordinary?
No, I think the away from the ball we're probably not ever going to see. I think it has to be one that the umpire sees, and the umpire lays a report. I mean, so, there's a lot of people think that in this footy these days, because you can get reported off the vision, that umpires don't bother kind of reporting things unless they're so obvious. So I can't remember. Did Dangerfield get reported?
Yeah. Oh, no, he did get reported.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That was what I was going to say, Lee. Umpires rarely report these days.
Well, if the umpire doesn't report the player, then it's very difficult to have a mechanism for what I suggested to I think an on-field official has to sort of do the yellow card and say, listen, I'm reporting you, and therefore we're going to look in to see what happens with the victim player, and therefore what might end up becoming a send-off. The system's all too difficult if the umpire can't report it on the time, I think. And as I say, not send him off straight away. Just it's a bit like there's a reviewing process, and the review might take 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Doesn't really matter, to be honest. But once a player has gone from the game for a reportable offence, that's when I think a send-off should apply.
Well, and sorry to keep sort of harping on this, but the David McKay one, Adelaide's David McKay against St Kilda. Once again, I can't remember if he was, but let's say he was reported by the umpire on the night, and the player had a broken jaw from St Kilda, had to go off the ground. He was found not guilty at the tribunal. Like, imagine if he was sent off and then he wasn't found to be guilty. There's maybe a few loopholes. But anyway, we'll move on, Lee. We'll spend enough on that.
It is an interesting debate, and as I say, it only pops up once a year, maybe, because it doesn't happen all that often. But as I say, I do think the fairness of it within the game, for me, look into it. Look into doing a mechanism.
Yep. Takeaways from last round. A couple of cracking matches, but what did you take away?
Well, I saw both Melbourne, Brisbane and Carlton Fremantle live. And, when you watch a game of footy, sometimes you think, geez, the ball's hot tonight. The ball was hot. And eventually, they both were really high-intensity, physical, bodies pounding in game. And Melbourne overwhelmed Brisbane, and Carlton eventually overwhelmed Fremantle. Well, Melbourne probably only proved what we probably already thought we knew, that if Melbourne play at their best, they have a level that doesn't seem like anyone else is going to get to. If they play at their best, I think they can beat anyone, but that doesn't mean they're going to do it each week. But that was what the takeaway from me. Melbourne were just fantastic last Thursday night, and Brisbane just couldn't cope with it. From Brisbane's point of view, as we know, when you were playing, Vix, the non-Melbourne teams don't play at the MCG much. When you do, you've got to eventually play well there, because the grand final's going to be played there most years. You're back again this year. So Brisbane haven't won it MCG for a number of years, and all of a sudden you only get a couple of games a year, and they've had another bad game, probably their worst game of the year at the MCG, even given that Melbourne were outstanding. So that was the takeaway. Doesn't mean that Brisbane are gone, in my view, but it does mean they've got that little hurdle they have yet to jump of actually winning at the MCG. Carlton Freo, well, that's the first time I've watched Carlton play this year, and I thought, I reckon they're now a premiership threat. I think they're good enough to be a chance of actually going all the way. Doesn't mean they're going to, but I mean, it's the first time I've thought that was possible. It's amazing, Bossie's been terrific as a senior coach, but I heard Brian Cook interviewed the other night, the new CEO, and he knows how footy works. It's not just the senior coach. It's got to be the senior coach, the whole list management, the conditioning, the coach, the whole lot. But even a bit of good luck, like Curnow, Chera, Hewitt, and Young from Bulldogs, all new players to the team, all playing well. And gee, they got a lot of players that you would say are only used to be fill-ins, are now playing really well. You know, they're actually getting a lot out of a lot of players, so they're going really well. But I still think Freo are in contention too. I didn't think they got beaten quite easily, but I thought a lot of things they're good at. They weren't good at on the night. I must admit, I looked at Fife and Mundy, both in the same team at the both sides. They look like two, at the moment, big, but slow, can't run much midfielders. That's going to be an interesting challenge for Freo, I reckon, where those two fit in at the same time. But anyway, those four teams, I think, are still very much in that top third that could go all the way with a bit of luck in the end. Geelong, Richmond, outstanding game. Geelong, they just keep bobbing up new weapons. Like that Tom Atkins and Tyson Stengel are sort of all of a sudden are really good players. Like Atkins is new to their midfield. Stengel obviously played in the Sandford last year, didn't he? And he's been, like Geelong...
De Koning is another one?
De Koning in defence, he's been there a few years, but he's coming through good. But I always thought Geelong have always lacked the good little forward who's got sort of speed and class myself. I thought they'd been a little bit B-gradish, but right at the moment, Tyson Stengel is like a bit of an A-grade all of a sudden.
I must say,
the whole season.
He's been outstanding and gone beyond what I thought he was going to be able to do. But it just speaks to the ability when you get settled down and you're in a place where you can just focus on your footy and all the other stuff is going well, which was his challenge, I suspect, at Adelaide and Richmond. Then it can really come together quickly. And Geelong, I think they've been great at doing that with a lot of players who just feel really comfortable at Geelong. So that's a really good find for them. The rule softenings, how did you see that around the 50-metre penalty?
I think logical, to be honest. I mean, there's one that we're talking about is when a teammate's got the ball back from the man on the mark, and one of his teammates runs towards him as if he's going to receive the handball, and then an opponent runs with the guy, and then they kind of split opposite directions all of a sudden in one stride, and the opponent is often been caught in the protected area, and there's been a free kick paid. And I think it's logical to say that it's a bit like, when you're about to play, you want to play on from the defensive goal square. If there's a teammate in the area, then you can't really say an opponent can't go in too. So I think it's very logical, to be honest. I don't mind the principle of saying, listen, this particular, it's only a particular part of that rule that I think it's common sense to say, listen, don't try and rort the rule by running an opponent in there and hoping you might get a 50-metre penalty. But as I said to Rory last week, because I reckon because the 50 metres now are paid for relatively insignificant things, I reckon the 25 metres that you got in the sample is enough. Like that's a good example, isn't it? If it's just a technical error, and 50 metres is such a big penalty. So I'm a bit of a fan of the 25-metre penalty rather than the 50 for most offences these days, and even the last disposal out of bounds seems pretty logical. But no need to boo the umpire because it's an automatic decision.
Yeah, we can make it ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Lee Matthews, we had Tony Shaw on earlier, who surprisingly is a fan of Port Adelaide being able to wear their traditional Sandford Guernsey from the days gone by. What are your thoughts on it?
Oh, I am too. I mean, I know Collingwood black and white stripes and all that stuff, and the prison bars are similar, but they're not playing Collingwood.
No.
I mean, if they're playing any other team, and I know Eddie McGuire used to jump up and down on this one, didn't he? Really? Yeah. So he was such such strong opposition. But I can't see any logic in whether it's in the showdown game. I mean, I don't know. Okay, maybe it's once a year you can choose to wear it, and just so because the black and white stripes get protected because Collingwood were in the AFL first. That was all. So I just think it's a blow up storm out of nothing. That one, I reckon, the prison bar for a special occasion. So as long as it's not against Collingwood, so much.
Lee Matthews a tick.
Well, we've gone back to the Collingwood Premiership coach or Premiership captain. Yeah, well, that's all we need almost. Just a quick one, Lee, before we let you go. The Lions, they got another big clash there at home, which has been a really happy hunting ground against a red hot Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, well, they had a bad week last week. I mean, but interesting though, the reason they had a bad week last week is Melbourne just blitzed them in the stoppage stuff. The clearances and Todd Boyney and a whole lot of them, the whole Melbourne group, they group versus groups, and guess what? The Bulldogs have got a fantastic midfield group, really. Libba had a great game last week for Craig Dunkley, Bonampelli, Trelaw, So actually, that'll be the game. I mean, if the Lions have a reasonable night in that sort of contested stoppage area, I think they're sort of good enough at both ends to win. But, yeah, they do play. I mean, world sport, I guess you play better at home mostly, don't you? But the Lions certainly play much better at the Gabba than they do, certainly at the MCG. So critical for them to get back on the winning list. And the Bulldogs really are, I think they're the team in the 8 that have got a really hard run home. So they have to be able to beat a team like sort of the Lions because they play Lions, Swans, St Kilda, Melbourne, Geelong, Freo.
Yeah,
then Giants and Hawthorn to finish it off. Yeah.
Lee, great chatting to you, mate. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thanks, guys.
Love his work. Lee Matthews, a superstar. So we've got 2 approvals. Tony Shaw and now Lee Matthews, 2 Collingwood greats.
Like I said, you got the Premiership coach from 1990, Premiership captain from 1990. He won the medal. He did everything.
And I spoke to Bucks earlier. He's happy.
There you go. So much more than that. I've got a little bit biased there. Time to get to a break. We're going to take your calls very shortly as well. Brody Smith to join us on the show. But first, let's check your roads out there. Lunch at the Coast Glenelg, $35 weekday lunch specials, including a glass of beer and wine. You can book now.
At Mansfield Park, there's a smash on Hanson Road near Grand Junction Road. Speeds are down on the freeway from the tunnels to Crafers for fog, so take care through there. In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Decateville Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. And we're getting busy right now, Anzac Highway at Marion Road. Cameras, Hewitson Road, Edinburgh North and Port Road at Cheltenham. Weight Watchers, 60% off sale. Make healthy happen and lose the weight for good. Get 60% off at www.com. Hurry, ends June 30th. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show Mystery Moments.
Well, that's what the fans have been waiting to see all day long.
8223 0055. All thanks to the Barrow Hotel Group. $450. Can you guess our sporting mystery moment? I know the guys in the room here, Bix and Tim, have absolutely no idea, so do your best.
I've got a really good idea.
Have you?
But I can't say.
We'll run it through the break then, Bix. See how it goes. We'll play after the break. 8223 0055. $450 could be yours.
Port Adelaide legend and larrikin Tim Ginniver joins Rowy's Sports Show each week thanks to the Lakes Hotel.
It's a beauty!
See every AFL game live and loud at the amazing sports bar in the Lakes Hotel, West Lakes.
Time to find out what's making news in the Channel 7 newsroom as we welcome Jane Doyle to the show. And Jane, we're hearing about a lot of families who are experiencing housing distress.
Indeed, the last couple of nights here on 7 News, we've featured a couple of those people who say they've put in hundreds of applications. Tonight, Elspeth Hussey has a look around and finds that despite this, public housing is sitting idle across the state, more than 1,000 properties. 5 teenagers have been arrested after a pursuit in the northern suburbs. Lead dust in a primary school ceiling is causing concern. 100 days in office for our new Premier, and he's announced more than 30 new ambulances will be delivered. In sport, the first test in Sri Lanka's off to a reasonable start for Australia. Barry Robran, AFL legend, we speak to him tonight about his Stobie pole refurbishment up at Prospect Oval. And when will Nick Kyrgios finally learn to behave properly? He's facing a major fine for spitting. So we'll have all the news from the All England Club and the rest of the day's top stories for you tonight at 6 in 7 News.
Thanks, Jane. Jane Doyle and all the team at Channel 7. There's only one choice. 7 News tonight at 6.
Can you believe it? It's the end of financial year already. And the team at Edwardstown Mazda are loving it because the savings they can pass on are outstanding. Drive away in a new Mazda CX-30 from from $33,297 and the all-new CX-5 from $36,209 drive away. And no matter where you live in Adelaide, Edwardstown Mazda is easy to get to at 862 South Road, Edwardstown. End of financial year sale on now. LNVD 207428.
There's plenty of air conditioners to choose from. But have you seen the latest P-Series split system from Hitachi? It's full of innovative features like presence sensor, auto filter cleaning, built-in Wi-Fi and scene camera technology, which identifies people and their activity level and adjusts the temperature and airflow to keep everyone comfortable. It even comes with a 6-year warranty. So what are you waiting for? Visit hitachieaircon.com.au now to find your local specialist installer.
When you've been around for over a century, you know a thing or two. And Business SA and Ray White have almost 300 years between them. So when an alliance is formed between Business SA and Ray White Business Sales SA, they're bringing all their experience to your business, making sure it's in top shape, whether you're buying, selling, or somewhere in between. Get in touch with the experts, Business SA and Ray White Business Sales SA on 8300 0000. That's 8300 0000.
Lots of memories in this home. This busted door lock.
Open the door!
I was hiding in the bathroom. And these bits of plastic and glass everywhere. Used to be my phone. He thought I was cheating.
Domestic violence is the #1 cause of homelessness for women and children. Don't make them choose between a violent home and the streets. Donate today at vinnies.org.au.
Get back on the road in the all-new Toyota Hilux at Jarvis Toyota. A 2.8 litre diesel delivering 20 kilowatts more power, plus over 10% improved fuel economy. Rediscover the road in the all-new Toyota Hilux at Jarvis Toyota.
Scraped your caravan? Your insurance should cover that. Speak to Walker Crash Repairs and let them fix it.
This is the FIVEaa Sports Show.
The FIVEaa Sports Show Mystery Moments.
Well, that's what the fans have been waiting to see all day long.
Well, we ran Bix's guess during the break. He was very wrong, so that's okay.
Hang on.
He hasn't got the $450, so there's a chance here for Craig from Strathalbyn who's going to have a crack for us.
Hey Craig, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, boys. And you?
Yeah, very well. Lovely part of the world up at Strath. Now, what do you think this mystery moment is?
Well, being a fairly strong American accent, I reckon it's got to be like an American Football League grand final or something.
Okay, a bit of detail on that.
Super Bowl or something?
Yeah, Super Bowl. Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Let's go 2020.
Oh, bad luck, Craig. You had a crack, though. The American accent, though, in the commentator is sort of alluding people down that path.
Yes.
But you can continue to think as it goes up to $500 tomorrow.
You're saying it's a bit more international.
Well, we're giving away a clue tomorrow
well
at
done,
$500.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, well,
it's a bloke with an American accent. It might be an American sport.
It doesn't mean it's in the US, is what you're alluding to.
Well, it's a good point, but you have to wait till our guest tomorrow to see if it can narrow down anything. $50 voucher, though, for Craig from Strathalbyn for playing.
There you go. Just having a look at some of the sip and save texts that are coming through. Greetings and salutations to you guys. That's a nice introduction.
Love it.
I know that sports need characters, but there is always a but. And this is talking about Nick Kyrgios. He isn't one of those characters. He's an embarrassment at nearly every big tournament he decides to play, and his antics are boorish, and his behaviour is appalling. It's totally all about Nick and stuff the rest of you. He's 27 years old, and he carries on like a toddler that's lost his dummy. And it goes on to speak a little bit more of that. Now, you sat up and watched it last night, and you have a similar view.
I think there's a whole Australian public out there, a bit like myself, where I think we're dying to get on his side, and we were dying to back him in and all the rest of it. And then he just does things that, you know, put you off. And last night was a great example of that. Now, you know, he's saying about the heckling, you know, people don't understand what that does to, you know, to athletes and all the rest of it. He should have grown up with 5 older brothers. I'm telling you now, the heckling was unbelievable. But I watched the first set, and I thought to myself straight away, he's playing within himself, and he's almost casually going through this first set until it looked like, oh, I can't get this back. And Jubb won that first set, you know. And he grabbed a ball and whacked it right out of the old tournament, you know. I thought, you know, if you really want to win, I want to see that emotion earlier to make sure you get on the bike and went hard. Then he worked really hard and he got the next 2 sets in and you thought, okay, he's back on track, he's going to do it. Then he goes and loses the 4th set and loses the plot with it.
Yeah.
Now, the act of spitting is just probably one of the silliest and dirtiest things that you can do, and it just goes and polarises everybody again. Now we've got to... And I think he almost self-destructs on purpose, as if, you know what, people start to get behind me. I'm not sure I like this. I'm going to upset you again. That's how I felt.
Have you ever... I'm a big James Bond fan.
Yeah.
And you know why they're so great? Because there's the good guy
and the Dr.
and there's always a villain. And I just feel like he's that
being
guy.
The villain.
He's imperfect.
Yeah.
He marches to the beat of his own drum and he says, you know what, I'm not going to conform to anyone. And rightly or wrongly, because he's got enough talent, he's able to get away with it now.
To a certain level.
Yeah, to a certain level. And he has only ever made the quarters of 2 Grand Slams, and that was in 2015 and 2016, one when he was a teenager and one when he was 20 years of age. So he's never reached those great heights. But at the end of the day, he is who he is. And I think we get angry because he's got all the talent.
That's right.
And we all see what
we
could
get frustrated,
be. Yeah.
would be a word.
But at the same time, and I had this discussion with Sam off air last week, it's always about the whole package. Now, the package is the mental application, the dedication, the application, all those things along with the talent. And what we do, we often see the talent as the hard part and the mental side of it as the easy part, but it's not.
No, it's the opposite.
And yet what we do is we always judge those players more harshly. Look at Alex Diminor, who is...
He'll give you everything.
It gives you everything.
Yeah.
Do we ever say, gee, where's Diminor? Geez, you haven't got any talent. Yeah. if only you had a better backhand or better forehand, geez, you could be anything.
Because we love that he gives everything.
I know, but it is all about the whole package. And that's why some players like Federer and Nadal and Djokovic are as good as what they are, because they are the 360. They've got the whole shooting match.
They've got it all right. You're right. And look, Leighton Hewitt copped a lot of...
flawed, aren't they, I reckon?
Leighton Hewitt polarised a lot of people. Yet he was like Energizer battery. He gave you everything he possibly could, ran down everything, you name it, but he still was a bit of a polarising tennis player. I loved him, but that's because I thought he dedicated every single moment he had to being the best he could.
Yeah.
I see Nick as almost the flip side.
One person we can definitely get behind tonight, 10 o'clock, get your TV set on Channel 9. Novak Djokovic returns to Wimbledon, and Thanasi Kokkinakis is who he faces in the second round. So that is going to be a great contest.
I'll look forward to it.
An Aussie taking on one of the world's enemies in tennis at the moment.
Exactly, and centre court. Never played on centre court before. We heard Tony Jones talk about that last night. Also, he has got a big scalp alongside his name. He did beat Roger Federer in 2018
He did.
as a youngster coming through before he had all those injury problems when Roger was right at the top of his game. So, stranger things have happened.
Absolutely
Could
agree.
he?
Could he? Maybe.
I'm going to find out. I'll watch.
Brody Smith on the other side of the 5:30 headlines is going to be in studio.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Good afternoon, I'm Michaela Kamarek. A man's on the run following an aggravated robbery at a pharmacy at Marlin this afternoon. Australians about to lodge their tax returns are being reminded they can claim for COVID-related expenditure. Origin Energy has been ordered to pay a record $17 million for breaches of hardship obligations to struggling customers, and another 5 Australians have joined Thanasi Kokkinakis in the second round at Wimbledon. Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Mansfield Park, there's a smash on Hanson Road near Grand Junction Road. Speeds are down on the freeway from the tunnels to Crafers for fog. In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. And we're busy right now, Robe Terrace and North Adelaide. Cameras, President Avenue, Andrews Farm and the North-South Motorway at Waterloo Corner. Score KFC Zinger Popcorn Box with the Zinger Burger, popcorn chicken and original tender, plus all your favourite sides. Not everywhere and not forever. Pop to it. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Showers tonight, a low of 9. Showers easing tomorrow, 15. Right now it's 11 degrees. More news at 6 o'clock and as it happens on 5AA.
FIVEaa Breakfast.
The Treasurer of South Australia, Stephen Mulligan, live in the FIVEaa Breakfast studio.
How hard is it to make confident predictions about what's going to happen with the economy right now?
Oh, it is difficult. There's no question about that. Is it your ambition to start paying down debt? Is that something you want to start doing over the course of this 4-year period?
Returns July 11.
Look, I'd love to, Will, but I think the reality is to finish the new Women's and Children's Hospital, to finish the North-South corridors, we're going to have to keep borrowing more money.
6 a.m. weekdays on FIVEaa.
Hey, it's Cam and Ali with an important message about bowel cancer. So listen up.
Bowel cancer takes more lives than breast, prostate or skin cancer. But 90% of bowel cancers can be treated successfully if caught early.
It's why everyone aged 50 to 74 has a free test kit delivered every 2 years. If you have a kit, get to it. We've done it. It only takes a few minutes.
And those few minutes could save your life. Need more info? Head to bowelcancer.org.au.
AEG Power Tools goes big this tax time. Bundle the 58-volt mower, blower and line trimmer kits and get over $1,500 worth of instant bonuses. Available June 30th only at select Bunnings stores. Visit aegpowertools.com.au. T's and C's apply.
At Harvey Norman, get 60 months interest-free, no deposit finance from Latitude and receive a bonus gift card up to $1,000. Shop furniture, bedding, computers and technology, TVs and entertainment and more. That's 60 months interest-free, no deposit, no interest from Latitude with 60 approximately equal monthly payments and receive a bonus gift card up to $1,000. Finance only available if you have or are approved for a participating Latitude credit card. Minimum finance amount $1,000. See T's and C's. Interest applies for non-compliance. Fees and product exclusions apply. Now at Harvey Norman.
Go! Let me tell you, nothing is going to stop the team at Wavell Mitsubishi from giving you incredible end of financial year deals. Enter via Goodwood Road and choose from the entire range today. It's game on at Wavell Mitsubishi, opposite the showground, driven by Australian Motors, LVD 80.
Landlords, every day your rental property is vacant, it's costing you money.
If you're a landlord looking for a quality tenant, Toop & Toop's CEO of Property Management, Susanna Toop, can point you in the right direction.
Absolutely. We have just launched a new innovation for our clients. Toop & Toop landlords can now secure a tenant up to 2 months in advance and before their property becomes vacant. This new innovation allows landlords to tap into our extensive pre-screened tenant network. We know who is actively looking for rental properties across Adelaide, and we are giving our clients access to this valuable information.
So you can start looking for a quality tenant without incurring advertising costs?
That's right, it's the perfect way to find your next tenant, ahead of time. On average, we meet over 600 tenants at our open homes each month, and it's not only landlords that benefit, it's great for tenants too. Toop & Toop is giving tenants the opportunity to secure a home up to 2 months sooner and before they become publicly available.
To register, simply head to toop.com.au/rent.
Scraped your caravan? Don't worry. Call Walker Crash Repairs, your RAA approved caravan crash repairer.
This is the FIVEaa Sports Show.
Crows are going to win. Silent side. Adelaide have pinched it by a point. Yes! Adelaide have pinched it by a point. They beat the top side Melbourne in an absolute thriller.
Oh, can you remember that? That was about this time last year when Adelaide beat Melbourne at the Adelaide Oval.
I heard that scream there. I thought it was the grand final 25 years ago. Big
Not
win.
Quite.
Big win.
It was an amazing win, though. One player that played in it joins us now in the studio from the Adelaide Footy Club. Brodie Smith needs something delivered for your business. Don't risk it. Ace it with Ace It Couriers.
Smith goes long with his right leg. Off one step, he's kicked it! Smith has kicked it from the middle of the ground. It was an unbelievable kick.
Brodie, welcome to the show.
Bix, how you going?
Very well, good to see you. Thanks for coming into the studio. You've had a big day, main training day today?
Yeah, today's our full day at the club, so yeah, came straight from main training in the morning, and then we do our weights and meetings and a bit of recovery in the afternoon, and finish up at about 4. So yeah, good solid day.
How long does a main training session go? We're over halfway through the season. You've got blokes who are a bit sore. You're not going to get any fitter. So what's your main session look like?
It'll depend on days between games. So this week's a 6-day break, so it's pretty short today.
So you're happy with that, aren't you?
Yeah, but it'll also depend on the result the week before and how well you're training. So very often Nixie won't be very happy with how drill's going, and he'll just go, keep going, and then Burjo's having a fight with Nixie about how long we're training. So yeah, it was a short one today, but the boys are very good.
We spoke to Nick Murray on Monday. At that stage, you hadn't had your review. What were some of the takeaways from the game against North Melbourne?
Just some of our execution that has obviously been something we've been working on. It's been, poor leading into that game, and that's been a real focus for us. And being able to get it into our forwards and give, guys like Fogg and Tex a good look at it. And clearly we did that as they kicked 10 goals between them. But I think their work rate ahead of the footy, and then us just using the simple option and being able to get it into those guys and give them a crack at kicking a few goals.
Yeah, you'd have to say, I read Darren Burgess was quoted today saying that had been the difference around Darcy Fogarty, his work rate. He was able to get up the ground and work back, which has been great. In the last quarter, it just became a rout. I think you had 22 inside 50s to 6. You kicked 6 goals, 2 or 3. At that stage, it almost, like you were just killing them. Do you get that sense out on the oval that, these guys are done and that it's a bit easier than, what it normally is at AFL level?
Yeah, well, it was on the weekend. We actually were a bit short down back. The tools were having a rest, so I was playing third tall and the ball did not come anywhere near me. So I was getting a bit cold in the last, just watching our mids turn it over time and time again, which is great. That's what we focus on. We want to get forward half turnovers, and Kangaroos were trying to take it on in the last quarter and try and pull something off and get us back to goal. So mids were very good in just turning the footy over and getting it back inside 50, which is what we love to do.
Now, Bix was being a little bit kind there. What he was actually saying in the last quarter, that they looked like witches' hats. Now, you're going from the witches' hats on the highway to the B double coming straight at you this week. You're going it's a bit. I was going to ask, in a session like today, you know that the intensity of last week is not going to match this week. It's almost you've got to train for that intensity that you're coming up for, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have little hits of what we call seek, the contest work, handball games, that sort of thing. And you look at Melbourne's midfield, it's just full of stars. So there's no doubt that contest is going to be a big part of trying to beat Melbourne on the weekend.
What about some of the guys who were a little bit sore? We know Riley Thilthorpe missed last week with an ankle injury. Shane McAdam was cleared of structural damage, but you'd have to think that he's very doubtful. Did he train today?
Nah, Shane, didn't train, so very doubtful that he'll be there this week. But thankfully, no major damage, so he might just need the rest. But
Riley?
Big filthy train, so he looked really good. So good signs from him.
Do you think that that's something that you can, comes back in? You've got that mix with Walker and Fogarty, who are going really well, 10 goals between them. I think the week before they all played together, so you're comfortable having those big guys up forward?
Yeah, it can definitely work, and especially this week with May, Lever and Petty, so trying to keep those guys accountable. Obviously they work so well together and can drop off and get pretty dangerous, so if we're making them accountable with Tex, Fogg and Filthy, then that'll go a long way to us winning as well.
I remember last time you played when you had success, you actually used the handball a fair bit, and I know you've been criticised for that against the Gold Coast, but it was that drawing of the player and actually making them commit to you that then created this overlap run and enabled you to score lots of goals. So how much do you go back to that playbook when you've had success already, and will you have a little look at that again before the weekend?
Yeah, for sure. It's an interesting one because, as you said, we did overdo it against Gold Coast with too many hands, and then we went back to a simple style against Kangaroos and we get the win there. But I think if you use that against Melbourne, they're so good at setting up and reading those long kicks, and they come off, intercept, and you're sort of playing into their hands. So I think it's definitely something we'll look at, and just trying to use our options, draw them up, and then try and hit those lead-ups instead of just kicking the high balls for Lever and May.
Big Rob Riley went all right again. He's got a big task, hasn't he, against it? But, no Gawn, it's a little bit easier than what it once was.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the difference between Gawn and Jackson is that Gawn's got the really good hit out and tap work, and so it probably comes back to Rob's strength now, where his follow-up, like Jackson, is really good. So I think those two are going to have a really good battle. It's almost like 4 midfielders for both sides. So, Big Rob will be throwing his weight around, no doubt about that.
Sometimes you get a match-up when you play a team and that person you sort of play on each time. With Melbourne, have you got a preferred match-up? Is there someone that you've ended up on a few times in more recent games against them?
Yeah, not too specific. It's sort of, I guess, the role I play at half-back. I get a lot of midfielders that come down to half-forward or the half-forwards that play high up at the ground. So, guys like Neil Bullen, Sparrow, these sort of guys this week, and we spoke about Pickett before. I'll be handing him off to the young fellas as much as I can because he's
pretty sharp.
He's very dangerous and he's a very tough little player as well. So I'll let one of the young boys get that done.
Now you snuck down last week and got yourself a goal in the last quarter, which I was very very watchful of. I love when you're playing like that and when you take off, because what it also does, especially if you've got a resting midfielder coming down, last thing they want is you running down having pings at goal. I mean, it's something that you just pick your moment.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Picking your moments, the key. I've gotten a bit of trouble for it over my career of leaving a bit too early and then try and get involved in offence. But
before the first bounce.
Yeah, well, yeah, sometimes, yeah. So you got to pick the right time. But I definitely like to test my opponent going the other way because, as you said, they don't really want to chase. But most of them will do it maybe 80% of the time, and you get lucky like on the weekend and kick a goal. So I'll keep trying to do that, but I've got to get the balance right.
Now, the other thing as well is on the run, you kick 99 out of 100, and then you have a set shot. I think it was against Gold Coast, and you just got a little bit of the yips. Now, here's the thing. I'm not sure if you've seen Big Benny Brown. He goes back about 50 metres. I reckon do that. Roll the ball out, pick it up, just run, and then make out just on the run and kick a goal. That might be the way to go.
Yeah, I think that is the go. Especially, I've worked with Matty Wright a little bit. He does all our goal kicking stuff, and we've tinkered with a few things. Not that I get many set shots, but especially with the stand rule now, you can give yourself that little bit of extra time.
A bit of a mark out there.
I think, my next set shot, I might just play on, and I don't want to give away the game plan, but if I get one on the weekend, I think I'll be playing
take
on.
Off, Errol. Jordan Dawson's come in. He's had a huge impact. Are you a little bit flat the fact that he gets to play as that loose guy all the time, and they give him 15 kicks a game just by handballing it to him, which was your go before he arrived?
He's absolutely taken over. Yep, he plays where he wants each week. When he comes down back, he's the loose defender. He's always beats me for the kick-ins. So he's costing me a few stats a week, Jordy Dawson, but when you play as well as he does, I'm happy for him to have it. But we do try and we get the ball to each other a little bit, which is nice. So we're trying to come up with a few things that we can work on from defence to try and use our strengths going forward.
Some suggestion when he first arrived that he would sort of be promoted into the midfield once he sort of was comfortable and he's in really good form. Is that something that gets talked about much? There is the potential for yourself, and you've got Mitch Hinge, you've got some other good distributors down back that maybe you could have a look in there and maybe add something to that middle mix.
Yeah, definitely. And he actually started on the wing last week as well to get a bit of a midfield look. And in games, though, we've just looked to use that extra, which is more often not Geordie. And Mitch Hinge went back up to the wing and actually played really well on the wing. So that mix is working for us, and that's why Dawes came down back. But he definitely can be a really strong midfielder for us. And even when he goes forward and rests, he takes marks and kicks goals. So it's a bit of a case where you'd like to have three of them and throw him everywhere. But
Dolly the sheep will just clone him.
Yeah,
perhaps.
I think especially where we've been at this year, I think his best footy is in the back half, helping us out down there and drive the footy out.
We saw Matty Crouch come out of the side, went back and just absolutely destroyed it. He's too good for the next level. Is it hard as a mate? Like we heard Tex Walker say at the beginning of the show, it's really hard. My best mate's been dropped, So is it hard for you, like sometimes when they do go back, you just want them back straight in the lineup, and perhaps with a couple of injuries, he might sneak back in?
Yeah, it is tough. It's an interesting one, and obviously, as you said, Matt's been playing terrific footy and goes back to SANFL and has a monster game. And someone like Luke Brown, who I'm really close with, is in the same sort of situation where some young guys have stepped up and come into the side, and he actually missed with COVID. Now he's back in the SANFL and still playing really good footy down there as well. So we're working on a few things in the side of balance and just trying to get the right mix of guys working together. So it's definitely frustrating for those guys, but as long as they're going back, playing really good footy, showing their leadership with the young guys in the SANFL, then that's all we can ask, and hopefully they're back sooner rather than later.
The Luke Brown decision is an interesting one, and I think he's very experienced. I think Andrew McPherson is another player who is like Luke Brown, more of a stopper than the sort of run-off attacking player. It does look like they've made a little decision to say we want blokes who can really back their leg. Parnell's a great kick, Hinge is a great kick, you got yourself and you got Dawson. Has that been a shift in your eyes to be a little bit more attacking off that sort of and rebounding across halfback?
Yeah, we've certainly identified that, as I said, execution's been an area we've been working on, and certainly off turnover we can get a lot better at going back at the opposition and inflicting some damage. So that's where you see the likes of Pistol Parnell with such a good kick, and as is Hingy and Chase, Will Hamill with his run and drive. So definitely something we're tinkering with at the moment. That's why you see the sides chopping and changing a little bit, and we're just trying to get that mix right.
Will Hamill, was he okay? Because it was a really nasty knock, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's fine. He was actually, I walked past him on the plane on the way home, and he was doing a crossword, and I was like,
okay.
What are you, like, you just got concussed, like, let your brain rest. But so he's fine. He's has to go through all the protocols, which are pretty boring early on. There's not much he can do, but he's good to go next week.
Well, Brodie, it's a big game for the club. You've got a record against them where you've performed pretty well. You come off a win, so you're ready to go. And, I guess everyone, Crows haven't played in Adelaide for around 3 weeks, I reckon it is. So we're hoping the big crowd will get along, support you guys, and you can put up a good showing.
Cheers, yep, really looking forward to it. Can't wait.
There you go. Well
Thanks,
done.
mate.
Thanks, Brodie Smith there. Thanks to ASIC Couriers, an SA family business doing great things for your business. No matter what it is, ASIC Couriers can deliver it safely and on time. So don't risk it. Ace it with ASIC Couriers.
Well done, Brodie. Good luck on the weekend. Just before you go, we've had a couple of Sip and Save texts come in, so I thought I'd get you a quick yes or no's to these, okay?
Oh, yes or no.
The 10-metre protected area rule change, happy with that, yes or no?
Yes, more.
Very happy with that.
More
Port
changes.
Adelaide prison bars in the final showdown of the year, yes or no?
Go for it, yeah.
Going to wear it?
He grew up wearing it.
I've worn it a few times
And the
myself.
last one was Tariq Newchurch. Should he debut this week with McAdam out?
Oh, he can definitely a chance. He played a really good game last week. That's
Okay.
not yes or no, but he's put his name right up
It's
there.
okay, the fans like to know. Good stuff on the Sip and Save text, everyone. Well done, Brodie. Good luck with Melbourne this weekend. All right, time to get to the traffic. Lunch at the Coast Glenelg, $35 weekday lunch specials, including a glass of beer or wine you can book now.
Few collisions to look out for on the drive home. One at Reach Haven, North East Road near Dale Avenue. Another one at Campbelltown. This one's along North East Road near Gorge Road. Another smash at Albert Park. West Lakes Boulevard at Clark Terrace. Lights also flashing there. Got speeds down at the moment on the freeway from the tunnels to Crafers for fog, with cameras Andrews Road, Andrews Farm, and Gawler Road at Virginia. Don't have Foxtel? Get live sport, drama, movies and Netflix with Foxtel's very big deal. On sale now. Ends Thursday. Search Foxtel or call 131 787. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Each week on Rowie Sports Show, Rowie invites some of his pals from the world of sport onto the show for a chat. Thanks to Pals, Parafield Airport Liquor, home of the hardest to find wines, beers and spirits. Life's better with your pals.
A walk is an amazing thing. All it really involves is putting one foot in front of the other. But spend a little time doing it and you'll make a big difference to the way you feel. If you can find just 10 minutes a day, that's less than the time it takes to play Bohemian Rhapsody twice. You'll end up in a better place, even if you only go around the block. A walk can work wonders. So start with 10 minutes today.
A message from the Government of South Australia.
Attention dilly-dalliers. If you thought you'd run out of time to score a great end of financial year deal on a new Volkswagen, listen to this. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen is about to receive truckloads of new Volkswagens, and they're available at amazing end of financial year prices. And remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Don't dilly-dally, dawdle or delay. Get a great deal on Volkswagen now. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
With your generosity, the Salvos can help women and children find a way out of violence and a way back into a safe and stable life. Donate to the Red Shield Appeal at salvationarmy.org.au and help us leave no one in need.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. With travel restrictions lifted, our National Tiles buying team is back in Italy and Spain on a mission to buy the best, the very best. Yes, the absolute very best quality tiles from the very best European manufacturers exclusively for National Tiles. So for the absolute best European quality National Tiles for your home at Australia's very best everyday lowest prices, you must go to nationaltiles.com.au now.
Now, look, if you know these guys, and I do well, Shane and Amanda and the whole team at Adelaide Exposed Concrete have raised the bar when it comes to concrete driveways, sheds, paths, patios and more. And I can tell you, I know this for a fact, because a friend of mine, Rehn, got one laid, and I'm telling you, he got caught staring at it for that long that his wife had to call him in for dinner. It was ridiculous. He loves it that much. Now, Shane and Amanda are great people, but they're also Melbourne supporters. But don't hold that against them, because they're very, very generous people as well. What they're going to do is they're going to give you the chance to win a $500 voucher to the Adelaide Oval Hotel, plus 2 tickets to any Crows game from now till the end of the season. How's that? So you can go to the Crows, a couple of tickets there, stay at the Adelaide Oval Hotel because you've got a $500 voucher. That is brilliant. That is very generous of them. Now all you got to do, this Friday, I'll be asking listeners to call in or text during the show and take a guess at the closest winning margin for the game between Melbourne and the Adelaide Crows this Saturday. Okay? So we're not taking, like if you say 17 and Big says 17, If you got it first, he has to pick another one. So we're going to have a clear winner. Now, all you have to do for that chance to win it is get on the phone or text us on Friday, and it's 2 tickets to a Groves game or a $500 voucher to Adelaide Oval. And it's all thanks to the awesome folks at Adelaide Exposed Concrete, because they're best on ground all year round.
Xero helps you collaborate with your accountant. So when it comes to tax time, you're super organised. And my accountant loves being organised.
Woohoo!
See? Xero is business, but better. Try Xero free for 30 days. Visit xero.com.
Get back on the road in the all-new Toyota Hilux at Jarvis Toyota. A 2.8 litre diesel delivering 20 kilowatts more power, plus over 10% improved fuel economy. Rediscover the road in the all-new Toyota Hilux at Jarvis Toyota.
Scraped your caravan? Your insurance should cover that. Speak to Walker Crash Repairs and let them fix it.
This is the 5AA Sports Show.
Just about time to get to our last shout. But before we do that, we have still got some Harlem Globetrotters tickets to give away. They are coming to town to the Entertainment Centre on July 14th, so smack bang in the middle of the school holidays, which is fantastic for your family on a Wednesday night.
There used to be a little tune with it. Remember the...
Yes.
That...
We'll get that tomorrow night.
That's it. Can you get that tune? Yeah.
I can't whistle.
And can you get lick my lips? While you're there, can you get somebody who can whistle as well?
Give us a kiss.
With the lips.
Timmy, need your lip balm.
We have 2 family passes to give away, so for your chance to win, give us a buzz now. Looks like the lines are already lit up. 822 300 55. We have 2 family passes. So that's very exciting. Thursday night, July 14, Adelaide Entertainment Centre. It is some of the best entertainment you are going to get for the family. But now time for this.
The last shout.
Who wants to go first?
Just me? I'm going to roll. I'm going to roll it. This has been released by Sri Lankan Cricket, and of course the Test.
Fine for 135 Sri Lanka as we speak.
Thank you very much. Well, they announced that the first Test against Australia will be dedicated to the late, great Shane Warne.
Love that.
So that is a lovely thing. And I think it's played in Galley, is it?
Gaul.
Gaul?
Yep.
Well, this was the venue where Warney became the first bowler to take 500 Test wickets. So isn't that a nice gesture?
Well, guess who's in attendance there today? Mutai Muralitharan, who's, of course, the leading wicket taker all time, 800 plus. So he's in attendance for that game.
No, that's awesome. I think that was excellent.
My last shout is around Lockie Neal. And he's re-signed with the Brisbane Lions. So remember the saga?
Oh,
so he's gone
back
from
to Freo.
Fremantle. He went to Brisbane and then signed an extension. But then in this off-season decided, I'm a bit wobbly on that and I want to go back to Fremantle. Can you trade me away? And then he's changed his mind again and now stayed and now he's committed to the end of 2026. So...
That's confusing.
Finally organised himself. He's been an absolute star.
Yes.
Wasn't it his best last week against Melbourne? I'm expecting him to have a big game because he's a super player. And for the Brisbane Lions to win the flag, he's got to be in top form, you would think.
Very good, Bix. Well done, Timmy. I don't have time for mine, but mine was going to be a bit of a whack at Carlton here, unfortunately. The Swamp Thing's gone nuts, so go on Swamp Thing's Twitter if you want to see that one. It's time to go, boys. Sports Day SA next.
Right.
Good to see you. We're back 4 o'clock tomorrow.
Whether you live south of or near the city, when it comes to driving a new Mitsubishi, you have 2 clear standouts. Wavell Mitsubishi